Babe, we just celebrated 20 years of marriage. And not only are you an amazing wife, beautiful, but you have taught me so much about being a parent. And if I am Father of the Year, you deserve a Mother of the Century award. And let me tell you, my kids know it. A few years ago, when Wapo and Bea, my two oldest, were about 5 and 6, we were traveling down to Rocky Point, and she engaged them in a game, as she so often did after the obligatory 110th "Are we there yet?" question. And she said, "Kids, if your mom and dad were parts of a car, what parts would we be?" Without hesitation, the answer was, "Well, Mom, that's easy. You'd be the steering wheel." Why is that? Well, because wherever you say we go, that's where we're going. And what about your dad? They thought about it for about half a second and said, "Dad, you'd be the car seat." I said, "Why?" "Because you sit around and don't do much." Father of the Year, baby. Woo! I think my status has been upgraded a little bit from a recent conversation, but I don't know. We'll see. But on a serious note, Mika, you are responsible for the greatest night that I've ever had as a father. And what I'm talking about is something that you've often taught me about, reminded me about, and that is the concept of living in the moment. Be in the moment. Sadly, we live in a day and age where multitasking is alive and well, and there's so much technology and distractions from just quality family time. But on January 11th of 2008, I had an opportunity to apply that concept. The consequences were such that I was home alone with my son, and the girls were out. We were going to spend the night together. And something in the back of my mind heard me say, be in the moment, spend time with your son, quality time. And I did that. And we shared a wonderful evening together of playing ping pong, talking about sports, watching TV, and then when the night was late, he surprised me by walking into the room and getting into bed with me. That had not happened since April of 2001. It would have been easy that night to be distracted and do my own thing and have him do his own thing, but for some reason, it went a much better way. And I lived in the moment, and we had a wonderful evening. The next day, I dropped him off at South Point to take his placement exam, and he was so excited, and all this nervous energy, and 12 hours later, he was gone. As difficult as the last 17 months and one day have been, I've often thought about how much more difficult it would be if I lived with thoughts of how I wished I would have held him one more time or told him I loved him. And I know that he knew that I loved him, and I know that he loved us because of you. Thank you. You know, speaking of my son, my son and my daughters, of course, are the third and very important reason why I'm up here. Juli, my 9-year-old princess, your smile makes me feel like Father of the Year every day, and I love you so much. And Bea, you are a constant source of pride for your mom and I, and to see you blossom into this amazing, confident, articulate, intelligent, and beautiful young lady is bittersweet, because I want you to be a little girl more often than not, and I love you so much. And as for my son, he's the third reason I'm up here. As many of you know, after his passing, our grieving was somewhat complicated by the legal and criminal process. And so many of you walked that road with us, and I am so grateful. Many of you have come up to me and expressed your condolences, and your support and gratitude we'll always be gracious for. And as you know, as you watched, some of you know that I was motivated by the simple thought that I wanted to conduct our involvement in that process with grace and dignity, so that when I see my son and hold him again, he will tell me he's proud of me. And I know he is. Notice of this honor arrived at our door in the mail the week before his trial started. Almost as if to say, Papi, I don't need a jury verdict or a sentencing from a judge to tell me how proud I am of you. So the timing of that, was that a coincidence? Maybe. Nevertheless, the process went on, and on the day that he would have turned 15, a jury needed less than 2 hours to find her guilty on his birthday. Coincidence? I don't know. A few weeks later, a judge sentenced her to what many thought was a big number, and that was 14 years for killing my 14-year-old boy. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think he's had a hand in this all along. And it's that belief that has me believing tonight that when so many loved ones are gathered, there's another table somewhere in the heavens in Papa's house. And they are gathered, no doubt, enjoying a great meal prepared by my grandmother, who was amazing in the kitchen, as you can tell. And they are having a great time. And it's a rectangular table. And my grandfather is there. My tío Fernando, my tío Lalo are there. And at the heads of the table are the two most important men in my life. And I think tonight, my son is raising his glass, looking at my dad and saying, you should be proud of your son, because I am. And with that thought, I'd just like to leave you with this, a simple reminder that yesterday is a memory. Tomorrow is an unfulfilled promise. The only guarantee of time that you have is the moment in front of you. Make the most of it, because you never know when it's not going to be there. Thank you.